This episode is brought to you by Anchor FM. If you've ever thought about launching your own podcast or looking for a new host for your current podcast, there's no better way or time than now. Anchor FM is the best podcast host and is completely free. Not only does Anchor not cost you anything, but you can monetize your podcast from the very start with no minimum listener base. All you got to do is go to anchor.fm to get started or download their free app. You can also record straight from the app and post it. It's got tons of features and functionality in the app where you can add background music and you can add your art for your podcast and all kinds of cool stuff. I highly recommend Anchor FM, so get started today with anchor.fm.
Countdown on the clock again. Feel like I'm playing in a game that I can never win. Time is running out, I know I gotta make a choice. So many whispers in my ear that I can't hear my voice. Tell me, will it end the situation that I'm in? Or am I bound to sit alone, drowning in my sin? Get right or get left, what will it be? Time is running out, the blood is flowing down the streets. People need to know we're living in a war zone. Hit the streets with the
What's up, everybody? Welcome to probably the first ever official Loot Bros Cross Trophy Horse episode.
Wait. Why did your name have to go first?
I mean, because it's a Loot Bros Cross Trophy Horse episode. I mean, that's how the alphabet works. I mean, that's how like alpha and beta systems work. I'm the alpha, you're the beta. I mean, that's basically that's the way it is, man. It's just science. It's just simple science. I'm your host, Residentdarrell, and with me this week, I got the man, the myth, he's got less platinums than me, so he's not really a legend, but I got Trickymic.
Alice is going to be upset that you stole his tagline and gave it to me. Two, the only reason you have more platinums right now is because I'm laying back, and I told you, enjoy your lead, because it ain't going to stay there, and the hurt is coming.
I mean, that's what you say. But here's the way this thing works out, man. Week after week, month after month, year after year, as long as I've known you, you are the self-proclaimed head of the trophy whores, but like you're like a trophy slacker. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm sitting here just doing my thing, and then it's like, oh dang, I'm like 10 platinums ahead of you. What happened? And you're like, oh wait a minute, let me go hunt trophies. You'll go hunt trophies. You'll pass me, and then I'm just doing my thing, and it's like, oh dang, I'm like 15 platinums ahead of you. And you're like, oh wait, so here I am, like 8, 9 platinums ahead of you. I don't even know anymore. 7. That's anyway. And I'm not. I mean, it's just at this point, I'm the only thing keeping you in the game. Your co-hosts, your self-proclaimed trophy whores, have really let me down over the years as a listener and a friend. Well, because they don't push you along like they used to.
Well, because one, they were always trying to stay ahead of me. And for the longest time, they were, and because I really didn't care. And then late last year, I kind of like broke off and knocked out like 75 platinums in 3 months, and like I totally passed them. And I'm not talking like the passing like, hey Darryl, I passed you, like I'm one ahead. No, I went like 50 ahead of them.
Yep.
And I think I just broke their spirit, and now they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna play this game, and we're gonna go to completion, and I'm not gonna do this. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You play the games you want. But to Alex's credit, when he gets a game, he does 100% of the trophies.
Yep.
He just won't sink as low as I do in getting the Mayo plats.
Hey man, somebody's got to get them because they ain't gonna plat themselves, and I think it's very that's a good thing. I mean, what you did, Tricky, you drew a line in the sand, and you said, look, real whores over here, all you trophy posers over here. And they chose their side. So,
I'm currently trying to write the Bill of Rights for the episode 500.
I dig it. All right, so what we're doing is we're going to do an amalgamation. All right, we're going to mate the two shows. All right, so this will be released on both feeds. This will be released in the Loot Bros podcast feed. This will also go on the Loot Bros Patreon feed for a little bit of early access. And then you're going to get this on the Trophy Horse feed. So if you are a listener of either show, please do us both a favor. Go check out the other show. Trophy Horse can be found anywhere on all your major podcast platforms, with the exception of Podbean. And then the Loot Bros podcast can be found everywhere, especially on Podbean.
Podbean sucks.
I don't even know if our actual current feed is on there. Our feed's still jacked up. Apple hates my guts, so we've got 2 feeds out there now. Who even freaking knows? But so what we're gonna do is, before we get into what we've been playing recently, Tricky, and then our trophy counts, topics, all that good stuff, we're gonna start this show off with a toast.
Oh,
all right.
God.
Yeah.
I'm taking my headset off.
Yeah, well, all right. So what we like to do here on the Loot Bros podcast, we like to celebrate something positive, something in gaming, something in life, something good. And there's a few things to celebrate here. First off, this is going to be released to the Loot Bros patrons, and we thank you so much for going on this journey with us. But this is also in celebration of the upcoming Extra Life Trophy War. Now, the purpose and the point of today's episode is for Tricky and I, the 2 team leaders, the leader of Team Loot Bros and the leader of Team Trophy Horse, to kind of hash out the rules, regulations, and lack thereof for this upcoming Trophy War. So, I'm going to toast to our shenanigans, and I look forward to what kind of craziness this is going to bring.
That's so annoying. Oh, you have to go back.
I had to do one for your show, one for my show. You know what I'm saying? Fair's fair. Yeah. So, all right, Tricky. Normally in the Loot Bros, what we would do right now is we would toast, give our housekeeping, and then we would jump into what we're playing. So, what we're going to do for this special crossover episode is I'm going to put out all of the business, and then you are going to break us into our updated trophy count. So if you're listening to this podcast on either feed, like I said before, check it out. Loot Bros Podcast. We offer a handful of other shows. We have the 2236 Survival Horror Podcast. It's coming back October 17th. And we also have the Loot Bros Comic Cast, which will have new episodes later in October as well. We have a Patreon. You can get early access to a lot of our normal shows, and you get special Loot Bros, Super Loot Bros podcast, which is an extra episode a month. And we have the Loot Bros Deep Dive. Over on the Trophy Horse side, you guys put out your weekly PlayStation podcast, the Trophy Horse.
Right.
And you guys still have a Patreon as well?
Yes, we do. It hasn't been very active lately just because I haven't had the time to update it. But we also have another show called PG Spoilers, which you used to be the host of, which has now been defunct since you relaunched the Loot Bros.
Hey, man, you know what? It's probably time for us to bring that back. So I got ideas. So
I heard some rumors that somebody's going to be recording an episode soon.
Hey, there you go. So somebody's got to do it. It ain't going to record itself. So please, if you're listening to these shows, support the Loot Bros, support the Trophy Horse. We are longtime friends. And we have been throwing shade and doing things together for a long time. So, Tricky, with that being said, why don't you break us into our updated trophy count?
All right. I am level 626, total trophies of 14,799. Apparently, I should have just gotten one more for the show. And 283 platinums.
Ooh, very nice. I'm a level 624. Total trophy count of 13,754 with a platinum count of 290.
Yeah, you're 7 ahead currently.
I'm chipping away. You know what's crazy is I'm about to catch you in levels, and that one, you were very, very far ahead of me for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, well, can we just talk about how the level system now is BS?
Absolutely.
Listen, I get that Sony wanted to update their system, but people went from like level 40 to level 600 overnight.
Yeah.
That's BS. And there's no way to calculate how, like, not to say you're not catching me, okay? Because obviously you're putting in the work. But there's no reason where I have 1,000 trophies more than you and you're only 2 levels below me.
It's also weird too because like if you had maxed out the old system, you like loaded in and maxed out the new system.
Right.
And I don't really understand the purpose or the point, honestly, of the new level system. And I don't know, like level 624, like what does that even mean? Like,
Right, because there's no like when you got like when I transferred up, I think it was level 623 when the new system came out. It's like, what level of accomplishment is that? Like, you just gave me 500 and some odd levels.
yeah.
And not to mention that the system is broken because you got guys like CJ who were level 99 before on the old system and now are level 1,000. So it's like, what did you accomplish by just giving him max level to max level? He has nothing to work for anymore.
Yeah, it's really weird. And like again, I would think by boosting up the level system, you would have made it harder, you know? Like in my mind, it would transfer almost like a 1-to-1. So if it only went up to level 99 before, it would still only go to level 99. But then it would just expand to 999. And then every level would be that much more of a percentage of points that you need to go up. So if it was 4,000 points, then the next one would be 5,000, then 6,000, 7,000, all the way up to, and it would make it like really ridiculously hard to get to level 999. And surely Sony had the data on hand to say, here's Hakum, here's Raw Dog or whatever his name is, Rough Dog. Here's the guys that
cheaters, by the way.
Well, whatever. But like if they're at the very top,
I like how you just dismissed that.
I'm just saying if they're at the very top, like you would know what their actual level is, what that would equate to in XP, and then what is the top 500, you know? Then it would be like, if I was doing the system, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm totally going to keep it free and clear of that. I wouldn't want it to be, I wouldn't want to unveil a new system and then people automatically roll into being maxed out. To me, that defeats the purpose.
Well, what I suggested, and obviously, is like, okay, going back to CJ. CJ was 99, and obviously he was leveled out. So the point is that what you should have done is given us the extra 900 levels, but then let CJ's level be whatever he would have been at that point. Instead of just saying, because the way it breaks down to being now is equivalent, and I don't know this for a fact, but if we had 100 levels and then you went up to 1,000, that means basically every level now is just 10% of what it was before.
Right.
So if I was level, I think I was level 60. Now essentially with me being 624, it just basically means I'm level 60 and 24%. That's what it means to me now.
Yeah, I don't think they changed it for the better. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a lowly old trophy hunter who, it is what it is. So, outside of that, Tricky, I know you and I have been going back and forth, and we've been kind of like, talking junk and hyping up this new hypothetical war. And so I guess it's really time to get into what that is and what we want that to be, and maybe hash out some of the concerns, and maybe implement some sanctions for what we have planned. So originally we talked about doing another trophy war, one team versus the other, and then doing it for a month again. But we learned last time that's taxing.
That's way too hard on us.
Yeah, and I think that we're all a lot farther along in life than we were even before. And there's certain weeks I don't even play video games. So, like to think that I'm going to get my money's worth out of a war, it just that would be foolish, and I didn't want to do that. So we've been going back and forth about doing it for a couple days, a week, a weekend, whatever. And then I think we both came to an agreement that we'll shoot for Extra Life this year. And the terms would be whatever we hash out for the war, the winner would just donate to the other team's Extra Life total for that event. And so what do you think about that?
That sounds fine to me. Obviously, we haven't worked out how much we're going to donate. But I've also been challenged. I don't know if you guys, if you or anybody listening to this has listened to the latest episode of yours, but I was challenged by Levi for Extra Life to play and beat Alan Wake.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
So, but I told Levi that I can't do it on Extra Life itself because that day I'm going to be kicking your ass in the war.
Well, and that's why we're here, because there is a way to do both.
All right.
And so I just kind of want to throw some ideas out. Listeners, we're recording this live. We have not talked about this ahead of time. The only conversation we had was, let's get together. Let's have this conversation. We'll record it, release it on both feeds. And I said, I've got a few notes written down, a couple ideas, but we have not shared any of this stuff with each other. So this may sound really great, or this may sound like crap.
It's going to be very jumbled up.
But realistically, I guess the bare bones of it is, I think that we should do a all-out, full-on war. And then in the last war we had, we didn't really take anything off the table. It was like region stacks weren't really a thing back then, but anything would have counted. Back when we did our last war, Telltale games were the trophy spam, and they were still 8 to 10 hours, to complete. And so I kind of like the idea of, if it's a game and it pops trophies, let's allow it. I think that we should have maybe 3 categories again. Last time we did the amount of trophies, the amount of platinums, and then the rarity, like the rarest trophies, to encourage people to play something a little harder. And so I like the idea of 3 tiers. I like the idea of total trophies. I like the idea of total platinums. As a PlayStation gamer, platinum is the coup de grace. That's the most important part. Again, I'm open to suggestion, but I was thinking about, what if we came up with a 3rd tier, if we agreed upon the first 2, total trophies, total platinums. What if we came up with a 3rd tier, to where we had maybe bonus points for playing certain games, and or the community decided the games that we played?
See, okay. I want to veto rarest trophy. And
I agree. I didn't like that one either.
I only say that because, and I've never said this publicly, I feel like I cheated you guys on winning that aspect in the last war.
It was a very smart decision what you did.
What I did was basically played a DLC that came out that day and took the chance that nobody else was going to get that trophy by the end of the day.
And you did it, and it worked.
Right. But to me, that seemed a little, I don't want to say scummy, but very cheap.
It didn't catch the spirit of what that challenge was designed for, but you're a trophy whore,
right? And
you did it. You did what trophy whores should do.
I fully planned that out from the beginning of the war. I said, this is exactly what I'm going to do, and it executed perfectly. But still, I think that category can be cheapened. So I want to veto that right away.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't like that one either, and it was kind of like that was one of those things that we put in there to encourage the guys on the team that are purists. Like, hey, you could be rewarded too for beating one of your hard games. But I guess let me back up before we get too far into what we do and don't want. Maybe we should rehash a little bit of the outcome from the last war.
You mean the one that you still haven't paid up the bet on?
Hey man, those trophies are made. The thing is like my team, I lost a guy 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks in.
So did I.
Your guys all participated. My guy popped a platinum the first week, and then not only did he bail from the war, but he bailed from our show.
That's true.
So,
do you have the stats? Because I still have the spreadsheet.
I've got it buried in my Google Doc somewhere.
All right. So for the last war, at all the categories, you had. Okay, hold on. Just for trophies, Remember the Loot gained a total of 1,968 trophies over the course of the month.
Okay.
Trophy Horse gained 2,038, which means we had 70 more trophies than you.
Which is a lot in and when you talk about that time, we did this,
Right.
2015, 2016?
2016.
I can get 70 trophies in an
hour.
Freaking hour now, but
Yeah.
at the time, that was a tremendous amount of trophy.
And not to mention, going week by week, the first week you guys got 396. We only had 253. The second week, you guys got 225, and we got 200. So in the first 2 weeks, you beat us both. But then
and this is where it all falls apart for us.
the third week, you got 308, which is right in the middle of the first 2 weeks. But we got a massive 523. And then the next week, you actually beat us again at 629 to our 606. But in the last week, we got 410 and 456. So our week 3 total is what dominated you.
Yeah.
Now, going back to Platinums, the loot had 8 in the first week. We had 6. The second week, you guys had 2. We had 3. The third week, you had 10. We had 11. In the fourth week, you guys had 9. We had 12. And then the last week, or the last couple of days, just to say, you had 8 and we had 11. So we actually wound up with 43 to your 37. So we beat you by 6 platinums.
Yep.
So,
which is crazy to think now how difficult that was. But nowadays we could pop 6 platinums, in a couple hours, and then still have time to actually play a real game.
Yeah. I mean, my goal right now for the war is to pop more platinums than my entire team did in that entire war in one day.
Which is very possible.
It is very possible.
So going back to the fact that we did it for a month, my team started off pretty strong. Like I told you, I lost a guy. I had one guy who is a good friend, but he learned real fast that he's not cut out for trophy hunting. And it was a real struggle to keep him focused, I guess is the best way to put it. And he always said, dude, my ADD just doesn't allow for me to finish these games. My ADD. And it was cool. We were like, hey, man, just do what you can. And I was playing the crap out of games. But I was working, 50 plus hours a week. And I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning, playing games before I work, playing games on my lunch break, playing games when my wife went to sleep. I was playing Telltale games on the Vita in Carline.
I was playing Telltale games on my Vita, PS3, and PS4 at the exact same time, playing the exact same game.
There, yep.
Because essentially with a Telltale game, all you have to do is just basically put the controller down and then just let the game play out because you don't have to move around a lot. And then when a decision needs to be made, if you don't care about the decisions, which obviously I don't care because I've already beaten the game on every other system, and that's not the story I'm following, you just let it go. And then if you die, okay, then you look over at random time, you see, okay, I died. I got to play this part so I don't die, and then put the controller down and walk away again.
Yep. Which I have done that. I've played this game so many times. But not every game is playable that way, but for the most part, the vast majority of the games, you can just allow them to play through.
Yep.
So, something else that happened was some of my teammates, they gave up on trophy hunting completely after this war.
Completely.
Yeah, like Tanner will not trophy hunt at all. Frosty, he almost gave up on gaming, which at this point he has. He's moved on to Magic.
Gathering. Yeah.
So, but at the time, and then we had B Button guy who quit
Life,
and then do what?
I said he quit life.
Yeah, he quit everything. Yep. And then was Josh on our team? I don't even know.
No, you had Game Squat.
Yeah, so Game Squat took Josh's spot because Josh was going through a divorce. So it was very interesting. It was definitely not. Our team fell apart that month. And so I would never want to do anything where I had to count on that many people again for anything more than a day.
Okay, but let's be real here a second. So the Horrors at the time, my team consisted of me, Alex, Yield, Donnie, and Lucia. So let's be real about something here. I had Lucia, who basically just gave up and said his Vita died after he popped 3 platinums, but never synced them. And then you got Donnie, who claims to be a trophy purist, but plays some of the worst games in the world. So he's like, oh, but I like whenever he comes on, he goes, I have this amount of trophies minus about 100, this many platinums minus 2. Like, I just want to say, every time he comes on the show, I'm like, listen, your count is your count.
That's right.
Okay. The only reason I let Alex get away with saying he's -1, like when he goes, I got 117 platinums, 106 teams, is because I know Alex legit did not want that to happen. Like, he was just playing sly, and he turned on the Vita, and it synced up. He did not do it on purpose. Donnie did it on purpose. And now he wants to go, oh, well, I didn't do it. I don't want those trophies to count. They popped, they count.
There you go. I mean, same thing goes for Alex. He can say whatever he wants, but at the end of the day, we're looking at his count. We know he synced.
Well, it's the same thing like I said on the last show. It's like a trophy is a trophy. Because now,
right.
if I go get the trophy and my name is Mayo, but you go get the trophy in Vanquish, at the end of the day, they're equal because it's still
the same.
It just adds a 1 to the total. Now, do you get more props because you platinum Vanquish and I platinum Mayo? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, somebody looking at our score, no, you got 1 platinum, I got a platinum, they're equal.
Yep. All platinums matter. All trophies. So, but yeah. So, like I said, that was a very interesting time, and we've had some discourse back and forth over the years, and a lot of your guys have said that we're not going to play unless there's rule.
Yes.
Which I don't understand. I guess if you want everyone to play the same games, that would matter. But like, no matter what rules, we set aside, there's ways to scum almost every game to an extent.
Right.
So what I wanted to do was open up the floor and say, hey, I know how you and I feel, but like, what kind of things have your team, and we're not talking team members yet.
No.
But like, what kind of stuff has your team suggested, or what do they want to get at it? Doesn't mean they're going to get it, but I'm just curious as to where you stand.
Well, I'm going back to our Facebook conversation, and the one thing that I'm going to stand by, because me and you were friends, but me and you have discussed this point in its as well. One rule that I must insist on is that you have to earn your own trophies. You cannot pass the controller to somebody else and have you get a platinum or a trophy for you. If you can't earn that trophy, then you can't earn that trophy.
I think that is fair. That's fair.
Because, and I'm not calling you out, but you got trophies for other team members, and B-Button Guy basically got the Goat Simulator trophy platinum for all you guys.
Well, see, that was the thing. We all sat in the same room together, and we used to podcast together.
Right.
And we had 3 TVs set up, 3 PlayStations, or 2 PlayStation 3s and a PS4. And so what we would do is we would pass the controller back and forth. We're playing games, popping trophies on the show. And some guys can't talk and play games at the same time. So we would pass the controller over to another person, very similar to how you would do any couch co-op, grow as long as we've all been alive. And when it came to Goat Simulator, we were sitting there podcasting, and he's playing Goat Simulator. And then once he got it, it was like, oh, drop out, log in as someone else, do it again.
Right.
And, and then while he was doing that, I would load up Goat Simulator on a different PlayStation under a different, whoever's next, which I don't think I did it for everybody. I think I just did it for him, myself, maybe one other person. But it was like, oh, I'll go get all the collectibles and do the wheelie and all the tedious crap. And then you do Goat Simulator on the other PlayStation and do the Flappy Goat. Something else I did too is I had multiple Vitas. So I would play The Walking Dead season 2, the one that didn't have a platinum, but it just had a lot of trophies. I would play it on the Vita, 100% it, log into a Vita with that cartridge with another person, and then play it for them too while we were podcasting.
I hear you. But I mean, to me, and this is not even just because of the war, I just feel as a purist, like, I feel like yours and other people that got trophies on, you got trophies for, I feel like their lists are not pure anymore, because it's like, I can honestly say on my list, I have obtained every single trophy that's on my thing, with the exception of one, because at the one that I got, that I had somebody else get, was me testing the share play system back when it first launched. And the trophy was an Assassin's Creed game, which I don't remember which one it was. But it was basically you just had to walk to a balcony and stand there for a few seconds. So I put my character there, passed him the controller, walked over, just to see if he could earn that trophy for me, and it did.
Hey, speaking of trophies, I just got a trophy.
Oh, you playing right now?
Music make you lose control.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I can't do that because I've got 3 kids that we all play games together.
But you can make them their own accounts.
I mean, they got their own accounts, but like, we play single player games where we pass the controller. Like Spider-Man. When Spider-Man came out, I bought the Spider-Man PS4. We pulled the couch toward, like, close to the TV in the living room, and for 2 weeks, like, we sat on the couch every single afternoon, and we would play the game. And it was like, all right, you play till you either die or you beat a mission. You pass the controller. And me and my 3 children experienced that game start to finish, like, and to the platinum, and it was a phenomenal experience. So like, and we've done that. God, dog, dude, so many times. So, you know, I mean, there's certain times where I've been playing games with people and the controller was not in my hand, and they got the platinum. You know,
no, I'm talking about you giving the controller to B button guy and having him get you the Flappy Goat trophy.
Oh, well, here's the thing. It's not like I commissioned him to do it for me, you know, and because
you sound so professional. Commissioned him to do it.
Right. It's like, I mean, like, eventually I would have got it. It was a war of attrition. It just so happened he was doing it and had already done it on camera, like at his house, and was like, dude, give it to me while we're recording and I'll do it for you. You know? And so we're just all in there passing controllers around. I mean, we did the same thing with some of the fighting games. You know? Like, we're sitting there fighting and playing fighting games, and it's like, all right, you know, you play till you die or whatever, and then, or you win a certain amount of matches. Oh, it's my turn to talk. Here, take the controller. So,
all right, so let's buckle down the rules. So you want to do total platinums? We agree on that?
Yeah, I think total platinums is very important.
Okay, total trophies.
I like that one as well.
Okay,
because not every game has a platinum, you know.
All right, so let's break down the rules of those. Are we allowing stacks?
I am all for stack. So my team is all for stack.
Your team is all for stacks. Okay. Yep. What about count sharing?
I don't think we need to do anything scummy like that. You know, like I think, like you said before, you play your own game, you play on your own profile. Because like, if realistically, I could get one person on my team, they could log into one of my profiles that has all of these Ratalaika games,
right?
And they could play for 24 hours straight on those.
Absolutely.
I'll put it to you like this. I wouldn't fight if someone did that, but I don't think that we should do that, if that makes any sense. Like, if we're going to make it to where, if we're going to say, hey, you play your own game, you have to be the one to get your own trophies, then we might as well lock it down to you play on your own account.
All right, so just for anybody that listens to this that doesn't know what we're talking about, when we talk about stacks, we're talking about playing the same game on a North American account, an EU account, a Hong Kong account, or whatever other accounts. The PlayStation systems are allowed that if you're playing a game from a different region, it has an entirely different trophy list. Yep. So in that case, like, my name is Mayo. I don't think Mayo stacks, but if they had a North American version, a EU version, and a Hong Kong version, you could basically pay $3, get 3 platinums on the same game, and it all shows up differently on your list. So that's what we mean by a stack, and by account sharing, meaning like Darrell would give me his login information so I can access all his games, and that's the way we would do that. So just if anybody was worried about the terminology.
Yeah, because like I said, guys like me and you who own all these games, I could give Tanner my login. He can make his console my primary, download whatever I own, and then he could log in under his own name, play all my games. And as long as I'm on a different console logged in as me, then I can also play all these games. And
as long as you're connected to the internet.
Right. And I just think that, like, for what we're doing, I don't know. I'd say let's not do it on sheer principle.
That's fine with me.
And all that would do is benefit me, because that would mean that people on my team wouldn't have to buy any games. But I just think that, like, it's getting into the weeds a little bit, and I think we should just be playing games, having a good time, streaming, and making sure that everyone can see us, and doing what we can do. Now, granted, not everyone's going to stream 24 hours. But I just think that should be. Well, I know you will, but like I think for my team, I'm going to try to set it up to where everyone has a certain amount of hours a day where they're doing the stream.
Right.
So,
all right.
That's not all aired out yet, but that's the goal.
Okay. Are any games restricted? I know how me and you feel, but in the spirit of competition, are any games restricted?
As far as my team goes, no. That we have no restrictions. I mean, we are pretty, as far as our stance goes, we're like, hey, anything goes, as long as it's fair, so like let's just play.
All right, because my team has been kind of back and forth. First they wanted no rad plats, no telltale, no stacks, and no visual novels, and and I've basically talked about it. I was like, listen, if we're doing that, then this war is going to be boring, because nobody's going to sit there for 10 hours to get a platinum to get 1 platinum. Like, the whole idea is to do a war, and in war, all fair and love a war.
Yep. Now, I will say this. I have a suggestion, I have an idea. I just want to throw it out there. It's not necessarily the way I want to play, but if the audience and the team members all wanted us to do it, we could forego the trophy spam and then let the listeners of the shows pick a list of games, and we have to work off that list of games.
See, I would agree to that. Only my only gripe with that is that what you play and what I play are entirely 2 different things.
Oh, I agree.
Because if they choose a whole bunch of Call of Duty games, obviously I'm not going to compete because I don't play first-person shooters.
Right.
If they choose horror games like Resident Evil, you have a distinct advantage over me because you've played every Resident Evil game ever made multiple times and own multiple copies of it.
Right.
So, like, right now, I'm being challenged to play Alan Wake for Extra Life. That is outside my comfort zone. But I'm doing it for the kids. But I'm going to take my time, get it right, and give Levi an accurate description of how horrible that game is. Because I don't know if you saw, but we were going at it on Facebook last night.
No, I didn't see it, but that's
but having an audience choose games, and I love our communities, don't get me wrong, but our communities also like to troll the hell out of us.
Oh, dude, that's all they would pick. It'd be troll game.
Right.
100%.
So if we're going to do a war and we're going to be enthusiastic about the war and try to get through all this, I think we should choose the games and what we want to play. Now, obviously, if you tune into my stream or for Extra Life, you're going to see a whole bunch of games that you really are interested in. Neither am I. They're just quick, easy platinums.
All right. So now that you have laid that foundation, I want to propose a challenge.
Go ahead.
I agree with you. We should play whatever we want and be as enthusiastic as possible. Okay. I think that's what's going to make it the most fun for us, and that's how we'll be the most engaging to watch. With that being said, I do think we should offer a donation-based challenge to where if someone's watching the stream and they say, "Hey, I want for $10, $20, whatever, I want you to switch over and play this game."
But for how long?
An hour. I mean, 2 hours. I don't know. We'd have to kind of determine what's fair, but I think that would be an interesting challenge. A, it would help drive donations, and B, like, so we did 2 years ago now. My wife was put over the March of Dimes for the children's hospital and stuff like in our area, and so what we did was we did a 12-hour March of Dimes stream, and since she was the head of this event, I was going to make that the Loot Bros Extra Life. You know, like every year in March, we would get together and we would do this stream, you know, and raise money for March of Dimes. And we did it one time, and then March of Dimes was back kind of postponed due to COVID. So we haven't, you know,
right,
the fundraiser, because there's a whole lot more to March of Dimes. Whereas Extra Life is all about streaming and raising money for video games. March of Dimes has quite the layers to it. Us doing streaming was just something fun for us to do. Now, what we did was for, I think, $20 donations, you could control the game that we played. I think for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it ended up being. I think we did an hour because it was a 12-hour stream. And so what was happening was I was getting really close to my 200th platinum. And then one of the listeners, shout out to JT, he pledged and had me play this really quick, easy, trashy visual novel and busted my 200 platinum on the stream. So he did it to troll me, to ruin my 200 platinum. So it wasn't a milestone game, and which was really funny. And of course it benefited the stream, you know? So I can see a world to where it would be dependent on the person streaming and if they were, you know, in agreement with it, to where it was like, hey, here's a list of games we agreed to, we have access to, whatever, before the event. At any given time, you can pledge to make the one of the members of the streamer, you know, switch over and play that game. And what that would also do is give strategic advantages to the other team if they wanted to pay for them.
Well, okay. Here's my gripes, and we'll talk this out real quick.
Okay.
I have no problem with incentive-based, you know, you pledge, I play this game. I have no problem with that. But I think there needs to be some sort of ground rules with it, in the fact of if I don't know. If I'm playing a game that, like, I've struggled to get through and I've beaten this boss, and all of a sudden, like, I gotta get to a save point to save it, but a donation comes in and goes, nope, you got to play this game right now. Meanwhile, I just beat this hard as hell boss and I didn't get to the save point, so it means I'm gonna have to go back and beat that boss. I understand, but
yeah, I think we can do it a fair way. Like, hey, like next save point, you know, next checkpoint, next mission, whatever. I could do it fair. I mean, I can see that.
All right, so I'm all for that. I say, and you know, we're hashing this out on the fly here. Let's say $20 gives an hour.
Okay.
And we have to play that game for that hour. And let's say a $50 donation is 3 hours.
Okay. I like it.
Because
I think what we should also do too is after this episode goes live, we should put a thread out and let the listeners kind of like weigh in on it. Maybe throw a poll out there and kind of give them a place to put some feedback, because I do think that would be so. Like for me, right? Let's say we're doing the war. Tricky is wearing us out on spam platinum. I got to get Tricky off of it. So then I say, all right, here's my $20 donation to your stream. Now for the next hour, you got to play
Barbie Horse Adventures.
The Division. Yeah, something. Yeah,
right.
Something to where it's like, oh, I know you already have all the trophies and you own this game.
Right.
Therefore, I'm just burning your hour. But at the end of the day, it raises money for the kids.
Right.
So like it buys me a strategic advantage for my team or the listener that you're pulling, the team you're pulling for. But in the same respect, it's like, at the end of the day, we're just raising money for kids anyways. So like, it's not like it's a bad thing. So.
And one caveat I have to put to that is because I'm an affiliate on Twitch, there's certain games I cannot play online.
I understand that too, because like the little Jared's favorite little pervy games.
Yeah.
So.
But what I will say this, and I will honor it. If you do donate for me to play for an hour, what I'll do is I'll just turn my PVR off online and play the game, so it's not actually broadcasting, but I'll still be live, and I will play that game. I just can't play that game with the visuals and the audio going.
Right. So there you go. I think again, that's something we've got a few more weeks to kind of air all these details out, but I think that would be fun. I think that'd be a really good way to get the audience engaged. And again, all donations, that goes to the kids. So it ain't for us.
All right. So what do you want to do for a third category?
Well, okay. So again, I pitched this earlier, and I like the idea of getting the audiences involved. So the only thing I could really think of was giving them the opportunity to pick games for the third category that were double points, or you get, let's say you play, like I say, okay, so Levi challenged you to play Alan Wake.
Right.
What if we put Alan Wake on the list as, if you play this game and beat this game, platinum this game, whatever, during these hours, you get an extra point, or because like platinum in a game like Alan Wake inside of 12 to 24 hours, that's going to be really tough. And the game's not easy. It's so I wouldn't put it contingent on a platinum. But what if we said, okay, if you play the games off of this list that the community has provided, you get an extra point for everyone you beat inside that 24 hours.
And that's beat per teammate.
Per teammate. So if everybody on the team beats Alan Wake from the hours of the beginning to the end of the event, that's just 5 extra points.
All right.
Nothing crazy, but incentive to get the community involved to like, hey, let's compile a list of games we would actually want to see. Because like you said, realistically, you and I are going to go straight for the bottom of the trash can, and we're going to get the worst stuff that you can put and get and do. And
I'm going to be scraping that mayo jar.
Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? So like, that's only going to be as entertaining as we are playing it. That's right. You're not tuning in to watch me figure out how to scum this visual novel.
Right.
But if there's a list of 20, 30, 50 games, and the listeners are like, hey, if you play off of this list that we worked on, you get an extra point for beating it. Then maybe I'll say, okay, maybe I will beat this game on stream. And sure, it's not the 15 extra trophies I would get for this rat plat, but it's 1 extra point for beating something that they enjoy.
All right. So now how are we going to calculate who won the war? Because if that's going to be a third category, so what I would say is the team with the most platinums gets a point.
Okay.
The person that has the most platinums gets an extra point for their team.
Okay.
The team that gets the most trophies gets a point. The person that has the most trophies gets a point for their team.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay. The third category, which we're calling the third category, but it's still its own individual category. Every person that beats one of those games per team gets a point.
And then the person who beats the most of those games gets an additional point for their team.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Being that it's a 24-hour war, I don't think somebody's going to be able to beat more than one of them.
Because what you would have to do is essentially before the event, get them staged up, and we don't even know what games that could be right now.
Right, and I don't like the idea that, say, okay, you brought up Alan Wake. What's to stop me from getting to the end of Alan Wake, start Extra Life, and beat Alan Wake, and they're like, that's not legit
Right.
what we're going for. Like, we want to beat the game start to finish. So it's going to be hard to evaluate. Did somebody delete their save to start over to go from start to finish, or somebody just saved on level 9 and like, okay, I popped it.
I got one. So like the medium, I just played and beat the medium, but I missed a couple collectibles, and the trophy requires you to get them all in one playthrough. There is a guide that says that basically I could do the whole thing. That game took me like 10, 12 hours. Something,
Right.
There's a guide that says you can get all those in one playthrough in about 4 hours. So realistically, what I could do is I could start the medium over, rush through it following a guide just to get the collectibles, to get the trophy, to get the platinum. And if that happened to be on the list, that would just be an extra point.
Right. Which to me is not in the spirit of the competition.
But either way, I got to start the game over regardless.
Right, but I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I could, I could essentially, I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because that's like getting you could like let's say we had a list of 10 games, right?
Right.
And then our teams were like, oh, I'm gonna play only those 10 games from now till Extra Life, get them all the way to the last level, and then just boom, one after the other, beat all those last levels.
Right. That's why I'm like hesitant on that rule, because I mean, even with a game that has like New Game Plus, it may take you 20 hours to beat the game the first time, but it's only going to take you 5 now because you have New Game Plus. You can just dive
I don't
through.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that though, because I mean because like Spider-Man, I haven't done the New Game Plus trophy because I mean I went through and platinumed the game the first time, and I was like, well then they released New Game Plus, and now there's New Game Plus with Ultimate difficulty, and I just haven't wanted to sink the hours into it. But Extra Life would be a good time to do that. So I wouldn't have a problem with a New Game Plus. I don't have as long as you start the game over, I don't have a problem with it. I think that if we're going to count them, you can't be more than 10% done with. Like let's say these games exist on our list already, like on our PSN profiles or something. Like I've already started. What have I? Okay, well that doesn't count. Let's say you started a game but you never finished it. I'm notorious for that. All right, I got less than 20% of the trophies or less than 10% of the trophies, however we want to agree on it. But the community puts that game on the list, and I wouldn't be opposed to people jumping in and finishing a game they've already started as long as it's early in the game. And the only way to really determine that would be to look at their PSN profile.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be hard to regulate it. That's all. I mean,
Yeah,
we're going to go on the honor system with it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, I guess if you want to be a turd, you could look into it. But I agree. I don't want to limit people on what they can and can't play.
I don't either.
But I agree with you that you shouldn't play the last 10 minutes of a game because you staged it up front, because that's.
Oh, you know what? Wait, I found a way we could do this.
Okay.
We get 2 people
To audit.
Well, we get 2 people that are going to find the 10 to 20 games that we're going to have the most points for.
Okay.
They don't tell us until Extra Life starts.
Ooh,
This way you can't pre-set up.
Oh, that's a great idea, Tricky. We'll just pick people and say, hey, y'all pick a list of games.
And do not tell any of our teammates. And when Extra Life starts, a post goes out in the Trophy Wars group, a post goes out in the Loot Bros group, and says, these are your games, go. And if you happen to be at the end of the game, you lucked out.
Yeah.
But there's no way you could pre-set it up.
So what we got to do is we need to put together a council of people we trust to pick a variety of games that don't play to 1 or 2 people's sensibility.
Right. And we, whoever the person is, as much as I love Nitro, as much as I love Levi and Jared, we can't.
They can't be it because they'll troll us.
Right. You can't troll us. Like if we pick you as the person that says that you're picking the games, you have to legit not troll and set up a fair competition.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool. And then and just so that anyone who's listening, any of our teammates that are listening, Because we're not going to know what these games are, we're also not going to know who has access to them. So we'll have them compile a big enough list, 20, 30 games, whatever, but it might not be stuff that we all have. It might be stuff that's on PS Plus. It might be stuff that's on PS Now, whatever, which I think those would be good places to pick your games from.
Yeah.
So
okay. And you just brought up another point. It's like, what if somebody chooses Alan Wake? Like, I own Alan Wake, but let's say I didn't.
Okay.
How do we do that? Because that's not exactly fair to say somebody has to go out and spend $40 to $70 for a game just to get a point.
I agree, and that's why the list should be very, very long. I think it should be a nice, sizable list, even if it was 50 games.
Okay.
We've got reliable and trustworthy enough community members between the two shows that would do that. Even if we had, we could totally make that happen.
All right, then that's fair with me. As long as the list is big enough where it's not going to be 20 games that me or you don't own.
Right. Well, no, I'm not opposed to buying games to play. I have spent more money on games for our Patreon than we have made on our Patreon. So
just to let you know, I spent close to $100 on the war alone.
There you go. So, but I'm not opposed to it. But I know not everyone on the team can do that or would do that. So right. I agree. I think that using PS Plus and using PlayStation Now is a very, very good and fair way of picking those games, because if you're going to be on our teams, you have access to one or both of those options.
Right. All right.
Cool.
All right. Just so, because I know Joe is going to listen to your show, or listen to this, and I know it's going to annoy the hell out of him. I have to do something, Darrell.
Do it.
Time to check my social media.
I just had to do that to annoy him.
All right, so let's recap real fast, just for all those listening, and so we're clear. Our totals are total trophies, total platinums, and then the community-generated list of games.
Do we want to set the standard and say it has to be at least X number of games?
I think it should be no less than 25.
I was going to go as high as 30.
I think 30 is good. I mean, the more the better. The more games the community picks, the better.
All right, so let's do this. You're going to choose a representative. Yep. I'm going to choose one. And this is going to be the standard. It has to be between 30. It has to be at least 30 games. And those games have to be included on PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Plus or Now?
Well, you can't say Plus, because what if somebody didn't have a Plus subscription or didn't download X number of game because they weren't interested in it?
I just think that is one of those things to where the majority of the people on either one of our sides have access to that. And I think that would negate, that's going to open up a lot. And I think that we have more people on our teams who subscribe to PlayStation Plus than they do PlayStation Now.
All right, so then Plus. So it has to be at least 30 games, and it has to have been on PlayStation Plus or PlayStation Now.
Yep,
that sounds good to me. And
I think that's fair.
And so the team is going to get a point for the most platinums. The team is going to get a point for the most trophies. The individual on the overall individual that gets a point, gets the most platinums, is going to get a point for his team. So just hypothetical. Darrell, you guys win total platinums. But overall, I had the most platinums.
You get a point and we get a point.
Right. That's the way this is going to work. It's not going to be whoever gets the most platinums on each team. It's going to be the overall individual gets the most. So Darrell's team may win total platinums, but I evened it out by knocking out more platinums overall.
Right. I like that idea a lot.
Same thing with the trophies. Team with the most trophies gets a point. Individual with the most trophies gets a point. And then we go into our third category, which is you beat X number of this game, you get a point for your team. And it could be multiple games, and it could be multiple teammates to get the point.
Awesome.
Now, what do we do in an event of a tie?
I think if they're in the event of a tie, then the team captains will go into a sudden death on a later date where we both stream for a certain amount of hours. and then it's down to just the two of us.
I'm going to counter that. We get a tie. We both make donations to each one's Extra Life page, and we do your idea to settle the ultimate winner. But at the end of the day, if at the end of Extra Life we have our teams are tied, we both make donations.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Okay, and just to be clear, because before we reveal our teammates, because this is getting a little long-winded, our teammates are not the ones having to make the donations. Only me and Darrell are. If they want to make donations, that's fine. But as far as the competition and the bet, it's only me and Darrell that are the ones that are required to pay up.
Okay, I'm fair. I'm fine with that too.
All right. So let's go into the team reveal, Darrell.
Oh, I'm not doing that yet.
Oh,
Nope, not doing that yet. I lost a man, so
I lost a man too.
I lost a man, so I gotta regroup. I think that we'll save that for whenever I come on Trophy Horse.
All right, which hopefully is going to be in a week.
Cool. All right, we'll save it. We need to draw it out a little bit, because we got a couple weeks to last until the actual competition. So I would like for us to volley back and forth on each other's shows as much as possible from now until Extra Life. All right. What is the date for all those listening? What is the date for Extra Life?
Extra Life is actually November 6th, and it starts at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, that's another thing I wanted to go over the rule with you with. But yeah, Extra Life is November 6th from 8 a.m. to November 7th at 8 a.m.
Okay. Now are we only operating straight on our time? So we have people who are on the team from other time zones. What are we doing with that?
That's what I was about to get into. What do you want to do? Because technically, two of my teammates are from across the pond.
So one of my teammates is 13 hours
ahead,
which
I know who that is.
So, he has done competitions, that work solely off of US, Eastern time Eastern Standard Time, stuff like that. So as far as right now goes, I think we'll just operate on the hours of Extra Life. I will confirm with my team and see what that looks like. I know worst case scenario, we can just look at the calendar. Like you and I can do the work. We go, okay, this is November 6th, 8 a.m. for this person. His PSN profile from this to this is the number. It's not hard for us to figure it out for those across the pond.
Well, okay, just so you know, because I know what you talk about, and I'm not going to throw the name out there. 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Yep.
Is 11 p.m. Saturday night for him.
Yeah.
So but it's
also the next day. It's
an hour before the next day.
He's 13 hours ahead. So, again, like I said, you and I can look at PSN profiles and decipher everything from there. I would like to confirm with my teammate to make sure that this is still possible. So we'll settle the time zones as the weeks get closer, because that one I'm a little, we just did a trophy competition and he was able to make it work. So I think we're good, but I just want to make sure.
See, my only thing, and I'm just talking out my ass here, is say my teammate from across the pond gets a trophy, like it pops on the time. But I don't know if you ever noticed this, Darrell, but if somebody, like if I don't know, Sid was to pop a trophy right now, and right now as we record, it's 2:44 in the afternoon. I think it's like 6 o'clock for him. 6:44 on his system. It shows that it popped at 6:44, but if I looked at his list, it shows it popped at 2:44.
Gotcha. So when we look at PSN profiles, it automatically converts over to our time.
I don't know about PSN profiles. I know the PlayStation system does it.
Yeah.
So if I go and look at, depending on the times we say to start and to finish, if Sid goes, Sid's not on my team, by the way. But if Sid was to pop a trophy and he popped it at a legit time, we could potentially go in and see the time and say, okay, no, this was 3 hours before the competition started. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got to find a way to legit get the accurate times
That's fine. We can figure that out.
All right.
Awesome.
So, how confident are you?
After if doing previous trophy wars has taught me anything, is that I am only confident in me, and I know what I can do, what I'm willing to do, and I think realistically, with you and me, it's going to come down to just staying awake.
Well, you know me, that's not gonna be a problem. I do this every year.
But see, like that's okay. So there you go. So for me, I've never done this. So for me to do this, it's going to be like you and I are going to be basically waiting on our consoles to catch up with us.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's just like, can I stay awake long enough to wait Tricky out? Or am I going to? Because see, I already had like a little extra life challenge going on with my brother. And it was like, like play Resident Evil games. Am I gonna go scummy? Am I gonna rely on other teammates to go scummy? Am I gonna play a real game? I don't know.
All right. One last question before we wrap this up.
Sure.
Can we play on multiple consoles at the same time?
No, let's just do it. Let's do it one at a time. Let's just, because like I've thought about like having the PS3, the Vita, the PS4, 5, all that stuff set up.
Right.
But let's just do it. Let's just do one at a time.
Because me and you both have 3 PS5s in our house.
Yeah. I've got a room set up with 3 TVs and multiple PlayStations in there. Realistically, I could have, I could have one PlayStation doing work on this trophy that just means you have to be in the game for a certain amount of hours.
Right.
I have this one doing Telltale style games where, I just waiting on me to do stuff while I'm actually grinding out stuff over here. No, let's just stick it to one console. Let's kind of focus on the stream side of stuff.
That's perfectly fine with me.
Because that's my thing is I want to be on stream as much as I can throughout the day. I want to give my teammates time on the stream as well. As far as like as a Loot Bros team, some of them might want to stream on their own accounts the whole day, and that's fine too. But I just wanted it, and I want to interact with the community. I want to be talking junk back and forth with you, on Discord and stuff like that. So, let's just play. Let's just be as legit as possible, also while scumming ourselves into the oblivion.
Yes, because
one console at a time.
Because unfortunately, I'm going to be popping my 300 platinum during this.
See, and that's another thing too. I've been debating on, do I save my 300? And I want my 300 to be a legit Resident Evil game.
See, I was also going to ask for an exception with the backlog beatdown. Just because right now, I have to finish 2 games for my last list.
Right.
But I really want... Go ahead.
No, same here. I was saying I do too. I got 2 left on my list.
So, I really want to platinum Ghost of Tsushima as my 300th platinum. But it's not on my list. So it's like, what do I do? Like, do I just take the loss of the 2 points? Or do I ask you for an exception and say, hey, listen, this one game, can I get credit for on the backlog beatdown because it's going to be on my next list?
Oh, you got to take the L, bro.
Yeah, I hate you.
Ponder's been taking the L nonstop, and he just keeps on racking up points. So.
Yeah, well, by the way, I should be leading the backlog beatdown, I'm just saying.
That's what you say. So, yeah,
I hate you. Listen, I want, when you lose this bet, I want you to pay up immediately, and I want you to pay up the last bet that you lost 5 years ago.
Hey, man, it got lost in the mail.
Yeah. It got lost on your shelf.
It got returned to sender, okay? I didn't realize
What burns me more is that not only did you not send out those, but then you start your Patreon, and in the first month, you send somebody a trophy that was supposed to be mine.
I did do that, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
That's awesome.
And bragged about it, by the way.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to keep things interesting between us. You know what I'm saying, Tricky? Just trying to keep it real.
Yeah.
Awesome. Tricky, man, it is always a blast when you and I get together and talk crap and have a good time. I'm really looking forward to this event. This is going to be either a lot of fun or it's really going to suck. One of those two. I can't see this kind of falling in the middle.
Yeah, I'm just hoping you're ready for your ass whipping. That's all I'm worried about.
Hey, man, you know what? Like any true heel in life, I set the stage just so I can lose because it's all about the entertainment.
Yes.
It's all about the entertainment.
Just go make sure you buy your air donut so, when you sit down and your ass hurting.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, man, look, dude, look. So all of the greatest heels in wrestling, they're not known for all the times that they won and they overcame. They're known for all the trash talk, all the obnoxious things they did just to turn around and lose in the end. So, and that's why you're going to lose. So,
okay.
Awesome. If you're listening to the show, you made it this far. This is something a little special. Tricky and I got together to do. This is the Loot Bros Cross Trophy Whores. Be sure to check out all of the different podcasts that the two groups offer. If you're into supporting people on Patreon, check out the Patreons. The Loot Bros Patreon is, in fact, the best Patreon ever created. That is, you don't even have to Google it. It's common knowledge. You have the most value on our Patreon, the best extra content that you can find. Trivia Horse has a Patreon too, but definitely Loot Roast is the best out there. Thank you guys so much for listening, checking everything out. Thank you for joining me, Tricky. We hope that everybody enjoys this stuff as much as we do, and we will catch you all on the flip side.
Later. Happy trophy hunting.